Welcome to a live episode, special edition of the Live by EG podcast. With me today, I got the siblings out, and let me see if I can put them on the camera so y'all can see them. Oh, there with me is Abby Garza, Jessica Tello, and then where's my other sister? No, the camera's not working. All right, we're gonna have to go turn it on here in a little bit.
Turn the camera.
Here, I'm gonna turn it on right now.
Oh, no. Yes.
Oh no, I can't reach it. Never mind.
You want me to reach it? What do I do?
You go turn it on, Jess. You do your job.
Oh, that would have been terrible. That's so embarrassing.
That is amazing. I've never seen the camera do that before. Yeah, it's that one. You just turn it off and turn it back on. It's at the top.
Dang.
Well, we're already having technical difficulties. I hope that's not a sign of this episode because y'all having my... No, I don't think so. It's not on.
I see.
Oh, yes, it is on now.
Yes.
It is. Woo! Y'all say what's up
Hi.
to my oldest sister, Lissy Lara.
The oldest.
The oldest.
Yes.
All right. Well, my sisters, I brought y'all here today because most people know us as Pastor Elazar and Suki Lara's children, which means we're PKs.
Yes.
And there's a stigma with that. What stigma do you think that is?
Oh man, that's a. I think growing up, it was just that meant you were probably entitled or spoiled or,
Bad.
yeah, just basically bad. I think that's what we heard a lot when we were growing up.
PKs have bad reps.
They really do for so many reasons. I think.
Not me.
Oh, gosh. We're laughing for a reason. You'll find out soon enough.
Yeah. Yeah, Jacob.
Yeah, whatever. Tell us, Jess.
What?
Tell us what are some famous stories about Jessica Tello back in the day?
We'll get back to that. Let me think.
I know Jessica's friends are watching this. Y'all better chime in on this.
Yeah, I think JoJo and Anna said they'd be up in our comments. So hopefully they're
Jojo,
watching
Anna,
right now.
Please.
You know
And Rachel.
Why is this on me? Jacob, you stole traffic cones.
Well, I stole what?
A traffic cone.
Did I steal traffic?
Yes. I remember one time.
All right, Seth, I'm gonna need your help on this. You better hop on and you better help me out because I don't remember that. I did steal. I don't know if I should say this, but
I know what you're gonna say.
okay, I'll say this because it's funny, but it's not. It's not. I don't condone this, by the way. I stole. No, okay, I'm not gonna say I stole. Seth, I'm bringing you down with me, Seth.
Yes, Seth.
Rico.
Seth stole.
Seth Reno.
Well, let's change the subject. We don't want to talk about that right now. No.
I could tell a story about the
right.
vacuum cord. Fred said the vacuum cord.
The what?
Oh.
The
Vacuum cord.
Yeah, remember when Dad?
Poor dad.
When, what?
Dad, we love you.
Drag dad.
All right, I gotta hear
Dad,
this
we
one. 'cause
love
I
All right,
don't-
Dad, we love you. So, we, Mom and Dad had that. What was that building on the east side?
Yeah, it was a
East
church
side.
building on the east side.
East side.
Oh God.
And this was right before church. And Dad's like, I don't know if it was before or after church, Dad.
I think it was before. I don't even think it was a church day. I think we were just there.
Okay,
Dad
we
said,
would go.
Dad said no.
You don't have to, when you're a pastor's kid, you don't have to be in church to be at church. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We were always at
We
church.
were always at church.
PKs are always at
Even
church.
now,
are.
we're grown.
Very, very
Even
true.
now, we're in church now. And yeah, so we're cleaning, and then Dad's like, well, honestly,
He said stop.
okay, I'll stop.
Oh man.
I'm scared.
Dad,
I love you, Dad.
hold on, Dad. We love you. Okay?
We do.
Wait, he
But
put LOL. Okay, so that means
promise
continue.
it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
A little bit.
All right,
Okay.
Dad.
Sometimes it's bad, but
Well, so Dad goes, here, he hands me the vacuum, and it's not cordless, right? Because this is what, like...
Way back in the day before cordless.
Yeah, I was 9 or 10, right? I don't know. And so, anyways, I'm doing this, and I see Dad come around, like he comes around me, and I'm vacuuming, and then I see like a bunch of dirt like kind of far away. So I stretched out the vacuum as far as I could, but not realizing that the cord was stretching out behind me.
Oh man.
And so I stretched it out, and I hear all the crunch, crunch, crunch. But at the same time, I'm hearing the crunch, crunch, crunch. I just hear doom, and I'm like, what? So,
Like her sound effects.
so I turn around. I turn around, and Dad had these cute little black cowboy boots, and they're like this in the air. I just see his feet. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I walk over there, and as I'm walking, I realize, because the cord's all like tangled right there by his feet, and I walk to him, and I'm like, Dad, and he gets up, and he's like, and he's laughing. I'm all, and I start laughing. He's all, why'd you do that? I didn't do it, Dad. I'm sorry. Till this day, he thinks I did it on purpose, but I didn't.
Oh,
But it's okay, because we agape.
We agape.
we got me.
Yeah. All right, now y'all go.
Okay.
Y'all better say something about Dad.
I feel like you told the most marshmallow story you've ever did.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
Excuse
but
me?
I'll go ahead.
I like marshmallows.
Jacob's going to continue his story about what he stole.
No, oh, okay. We're gonna go to that one. It's not even that bad, y'all. Okay, well it is bad, but it's not bad. And I'm out driving with Seth Rico. Y'all know Seth Rico. He's on the show quite a bit. Seth, I'm sorry, I'm bringing you down on this ship. But basically, what happened is we were bored. Hey, now I will say this: we weren't doing drugs and stuff like that.
Right.
But we were like adrenaline junkies.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, and I don't know if I should say this, but there are these chairs at Rose's Cafe.
Oh, gosh.
And I'm not even going to say which one because I don't want to get in trouble for this. This is like 15 years ago, okay? All right, I'm 32. But they were Corona chairs. Oh, Seth said, stop this. And yeah,
Is that why there was a Corona chair in your room forever?
that's exactly why there was a Corona chair in my
I never
room.
knew this.
And
makes
I'm not
sense.
proud of it.
No.
It's not there no more. Okay,
No, it's
and
not.
I don't drink. I don't condone that. For some reason, we like the way the chair looked though. Seth, you're making me look bad here. Quit saying there's lies.
Oh, I wholeheartedly believe this story.
Yeah.
I know. I know it for a fact.
I thought Seth was calling me.
Is that where the chair came from?
and now my dad is saying, is that where that chair came from? Yes,
That's what I was
it came
saying,
from
too.
Rose's Cafe.
I never knew.
We're probably. I'll tell you. We're
Where
probably
is
the
that chair?
reason. It's probably the reason why. That's probably the reason why Rose's started putting their chairs up after like closed down. Because yeah. I also stole a stop sign. Now in my defense,
Oh, gosh.
the stop sign was not like out there, or it wasn't like set up anywhere. It was just there was a construction zone, and Seth wanted a sign that said no dumping so he could put it above his toilet. I love you, Seth. But we didn't find that sign. We found
genius.
a stop sign. Yeah, it is genius.
That is
I still remember that, Seth. It's
Yeah.
good
Wow.
times, man.
Yeah,
Good
but
times.
Seth grew up with us. Like, he's an honorary PK in some ways.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think,
Yeah.
so.
He's adopted, for sure.
Yeah, you grew up with it. All right.
Fred said, what did Fred say? What is the statue? What? Oh, gosh. I just
What
hit
is
my
the
head.
statute of limitations for roses?
That was so embarrassing.
Oh no!
Why were we?
Oh gosh!
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow!
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right. Well,
we
I
need to
want.
get back on topic.
But you know,
Okay.
I
Back on
think
topic.
given all that, I don't think we fit into that category of being what a PK is typically known for. I think mom and dad ran a pretty. I mean, given the stories y'all just told,
Yeah.
but they ran a pretty tight ship.
They
I
did.
have to say, you
They
know,
did.
like if we did anything out of line, I mean, we had the fear of not only God in our lives, but we had the fear of mom and dad. And I think we would tell on ourselves before.
Yeah.
Before,
sure.
I think we let like a day or two pass, and they were just like, I remember going to mom and being like, Mom, I have something to tell you, because it would kill me.
I don't even think that we
Oh my
would tell on
gosh.
ourselves. Well, like, yeah, we'll tell on ourselves, but also like mom's a psychic. Where
No,
the Holy
no.
Spirit just comes to her because
And
she would know.
I got
I
a
feel like
I got a
would
story
the
about that
discernment
here in a
level.
little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the discernment level in our parents is
Okay.
it did not work in our
Okay,
favor for sure.
Since we're going there, let me share this story. Since we're talking about mom
Oh,
and
God.
her Jedi powers. No, I'm just
For
kidding.
real,
Her
no,
discernment.
that's an absolute genius way to describe it.
Seth's already commenting. He said your mom's a Jedi.
Yes,
is what she is.
yes.
Okay, I gotta tell you this story. So many moons ago, back when I was in high school and I played basketball, it was a Saturday, and I was supposed to be at practice, and I lied.
Why do I feel like Seth is in this story too?
He is in the story. Seth texted me that morning and he said, "Hey, let's go." I don't even remember what we did. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I just remember I skipped practice and because I hung out with Seth. Well, my mom knew I was supposed to be at basketball practice, and so I get back home with Seth, and Seth is just, everything's fine. Like you know what, Seth? I remember you even told me what to say. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think he told me what to say. But
I'm sure he did.
it was a Friday. It was a Friday? Was it Friday? I think it was a
He
Friday.
said it was a Friday.
Yeah, that's right. Anyways, so Then did I skip? I didn't skip. Did I skip? No, I didn't skip.
Jacob's forgetting parts of the story.
skipped. Okay, anyways, long story short, I skipped basketball practice. And here...
He said, yes, I skipped with you.
Yeah. And long story short, we get to the house and my mom is just staring at me and she says, "Son, did you skip basketball practice?" And I said, "No, And I looked at her. I said, we went. I did practice, and Seth picked me up, and then we went and we came here." And then my mom, Steph's just sitting there still. I should have known. Steph's just sitting there still. And then my mom turns and looks at Seth and says, "Seth, did Jacob skip basketball practice?" He goes, "Yes, he did." I was like, "God dang it, Seth." Oh, man.
That's how mom loves him.
And he goes like, "I can't." I love the comments right now. Comment section's lit. Shout out to Angela Garcia, by the way, because she's a PK. I know she's got some stories.
David and Angela.
Angela, we know.
Yeah. We need one with them.
I think as an adult, I think when we were kids, we didn't have an opportunity that I can recall, to fellowship with other PKs because we were always just so on the go, I think.
Yeah.
And as an adult, getting to have friends like Angela and David, who I love you, Angela.
We love you.
Shout out, Angela.
Getting to have friends that grew
And
up
David.
in similar environments like us, like we're like, oh my gosh, where were y'all? Like,
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Them.
I just like reading these comments. Well, I think I'm glad that you brought that up about mom and dad running a tight ship because they did.
They did.
And shout out to mom and dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
They, at the end of the day, yeah, we mess up. I mean, yes,
A lot.
But what was amazing is, and I've told several people this, we saw consistency in our parents, and they made sure to let us know they weren't perfect.
Right.
But I tell you what, and I know y'all can vouch for this. They always prayed.
Yes.
There was mornings where if you got up in the middle of the night to get a glass of water, you might see mom or dad in the living room on the couch just going to war.
Yeah.
Yes.
Praying.
Yeah.
And to me, those are the things that I will never forget, and I think that those are the seeds that they planted in our hearts to know that, hey, this life, there's going to be struggles. In this life, there's going to be a lot of, trials. But if you stay faithful and trust in the Lord, you're going to see the fruits of that labor because God is faithful. Amen. And so it's like that scripture that says, "Do not grow weary in doing good." And I think that that's eventually the word that's been planted in all our hearts because we've seen mom and dad, let's talk about that. We've seen mom and dad go through a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I mean, share with me like some of the things that you've seen mom and dad go through that, whether good or bad, that has inspired you.
Oh man, for me, I think there's a lot I could say. Of course, I'm the oldest, so I've, you know, I've seen a lot more to a certain point. But I think one of the things that stands out to me about mom was when grandma passed away. That was a very, I mean, I don't want to say difficult, but I remember going with mom to hospice during like lunch hours because we worked together at that time. We still work together, but we worked together at that time. And so we would go to see grandma on our lunches, and then seeing her go to church and have her hands lifted and praising, because that spoke to me, and it stayed with me, because that was probably one of the hardest things I think that I've seen them on a personal level. There's different levels, I think, and we can touch on that when you have parents in ministry, because like for us, there's mom and dad, there's pastors, and then of course I work, some of us work for dad. So there's dad, the boss, and then there's a grandparent side of them. And we have to distinguish all those sides as their children and know. So I know, like when dad's talking to me as a pastor, I address him as pastor, and there's times he's talking to me as the boss, and you learn to separate those things and to have respect on different levels. And so on a personal note, I think seeing the faith that mom had and continues to have, because it's only grown since then, is something that stays within me, and it's something that is always there when even when I go through things that are difficult.
It made me tear up.
And even dad lost grandma that same year too. We were just talking about that the other day, and they were still showing up. They're going through all this on a personal level, and they were still coming to church and talking about the goodness of God and the faithfulness, and continuing to seek him. And not a lot of people can do that. I've heard different ministers and preachers who talk on the subject of loss, and still believing when you're going through that. And it's hard. Not a lot of people can do it. And that's something that I mean, when I look at mom and dad, I love them for all kinds of different reasons, but that's something that sticks out in my memory.
That's good. What
Abby.
about y'all?
Abby hasn't talked yet.
I know.
Abby, it's your turn, Abby.
My head's like in the long way. No, I know there's been a lot of times that I've admired mom and dad for their resilience and stuff. But I was in La La Land because I was thinking of something that you said, and you said you had to learn how to differentiate those things. And I think being a PK, it's like, that's rough.
It is rough.
Having to learn. And I think that's why there's a stigma for pastors' kids, because everybody in the church is treating your parents like, they're not that they're perfect, but like they're held to a higher standard. So, you should be held to a higher standard. And in some churches, it's like that. They treat them like they're perfect.
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
But that can kind of get in your head a little bit, and when you're at home and as a little kid, you're seeing, okay, yes, mom and dad pray, mom and dad read the Bible, mom and dad are good, and that's it. Like, there's no in between. But then the reality hits where you start understanding a lot more things, and maybe they're not perfect, And that's why I think a lot of pastors' kids do end up going that route, because they didn't learn how to differentiate that. They didn't. They get mad, and they're like, "You're supposed to be a Christian.
Who you are in the church for the people of the church. You have to be at home, and it's not like that.
Exactly.
There's a difference for sure. And I think you're absolutely right. That gets lost on. And I'm grateful as an adult, as a mother now, who is, I have 4 kids. One of the things that I am very grateful for is the fact that mom and dad kept us humble, number one. They never let us get big headed in any sort of way.
Right, yeah.
And they didn't just keep us humble like by, oh, if y'all don't, I'm gonna whoop y'all. No, it wasn't that. It was like the Bible says, what you had in darkness, it's gonna be brought to. There was always a word behind what they were gonna tell us, and so that was instilling the fear of mom and dad and instilling the fear of God, and that's something that I have learned with my kids, but also. They would sit with us. Like, I don't know if y'all remember, I know they did it with y'all, but if they got onto us or had to discipline us in some form or fashion, they would come in, like after the crying and the fits or whatever, they would come in and be like, but let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. And then they would tell us the why of it. And then they'd say, and now let me tell you how this lines up with the word of God. And they would, and that was so instrumental for me. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes, but in my child, in the way I deal with my kids, that's been very instrumental to know that as a parent, you admit when you're wrong. Because they do. They have, and even continue to do so as adults. We're all adults, but I've had a moment or two where, I've had conversations and one or the other, they're like, I'm sorry. They don't have to tell me sorry. Right. And that's what I tell them. I tell them, like, you don't have to apologize to me. I don't, because in my heart, if they're giving me correction, I know I deserve it. I'm like, give it to me, please, But I think that's something that, how you said, that sometimes it gets lost with the PKs and even just being parents in general.
And I want to say this because I feel like, anybody who's thinking about being pastors, or if you are pastors, I can say this about mom and dad, and I can say this confidently, is church never took precedent over us.
Right.
Were there days where we felt like, like Freddie, I like what Freddie said. He was like, do you remember them days, Jessica, where you were those special trips so short story, but tell everybody about that just real quick.
All right. Well, it all began. No, I'm just kidding. So dad would do this thing. And how
old were you when it started?
I was like 14, 15. Maybe it started actually when I was like 11 or 12. He got me every time. It worked every time. He'd be like, hey, Mija, you gonna go with me? And I'd be like, yeah, Dad. Because I always was there with Dad. And I'd be like, yeah, Dad, we're going. He's like, well, just go with me real quick. I was like, okay. And he got smart. Because see, what he would do is he'd go and put his guitar in the trunk
before you got in the car.
Before you would ask me. And so there would be no guitar because the first 3 times I'd be like, Dad, we're going to church. Yeah, we're going to church. But after the 5th time, he would go and put the guitar case in the trunk. So anyways, I remember one time he's like, you want to go? And I was like, yeah. And I was thinking we're going to the store because that's what he made it sound like. And so we get in the car, and I can't remember what car we had at the time, but we lived on Cypress, and we're leaving, and he's going towards like the interstate, and I'm like, so I look at him, and I'm like, okay, and so I'm looking down, and then he gets on the stage, just like, I look behind, and I see Lubbock behind me. I'm like, Dad, he's all, we're going to church. I need you to sing tonight. I was like, okay. So it's funny because wherever we were going, Grandma and Grandpa and Lucero would be there. And I'll never forget that one time we walked in, it's this little tiny church, and Dad walks in and he has a guitar, and I'm like, man. And I see Lucero, and we walked in late, and Grandma's gone singing her song, and Lucero's at the drums, and we make eye contact, and she looks at me like they got you too, huh? I was like, shout out to Lucero. Yeah.
Love her.
Hey, you know what? I want to give it. I want to give it. Gosh, dang it. I had to say it because I knew you were going to make fun of me. Y'all are sorry, man. This is what happens when you have your siblings on here.
Oh. You and Dad, dude. You and Dad are.
We struggle to talk sometimes.
Dad with the corn.
What did he
was he trying to say?
He was trying to say the crown.
Oh, the crown.
The crown of thorns, and he said the corn.
Okay, as PKs, we'll say this. We are listening to every word that our dad says, or even our mom. when they're preaching or when they're up there teaching.
man.
They can't, and they
can't
know
mess up.
we're not gonna laugh like out loud, but we will let them know like at the dinner table
We all
later
glance
on.
at
or
each other.
After church at the
after
lunch
church.
table.
Yeah, or next morning, whatever. But anyways, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all the primos.
Yeah.
Because cousins, sorry.
All our cousins.
Yeah, you know,
Primos.
we miss them. We love you all. I know we're like everywhere. They're everywhere, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah,
like,
right,
it's
yeah.
crazy. But we love every single one of you, and we hope that every single one of you are
Missing
doing
like
blessed.
all our aunts
Yes.
and uncles too, by the way.
Yep.
who,
Yes.
Tias, tios.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Tias and Theos, shout out to Angela said everybody bring corn to church tomorrow. Oh man, this is gonna be good.
Oh, don't start, Angela. Don't start.
We got some stories, Angela. Come on.
I know, Angela.
I know you got some.
She does.
You got,
She
you gotta,
does.
you gotta
We
bring
need
them.
to get her on here.
I'm gonna request you to come live
Yes.
here in a
Yes.
little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. We're gonna add you.
Yeah. But
Do it.
what I did want to say too is like if you are, I didn't get to finish this, but if you are like a pastor or you're in ministry, don't ever take for granted your children, your family.
Yes.
Because I'm really grateful that my mom and dad, like I said, there was days where we're like, church again, weekly revivals. I mean, man, there was days where I fell asleep under the pew and then woke up in bed or woke up at the pancake house.
Let's talk about the pancake house. That was like our second house, y'all.
The
Like
pancake house was.
we knew being underneath the tables really, really well.
Yeah.
There was something about being. It was just like you just slept really good.
Yeah.
The amount of gum me and Jacob touched.
Yeah.
But y'all gotta
I'm
know,
gonna be-
like
I'm
how
gonna be
old
honest
were
with you.
we?
I was Jacob's brother.
Yeah.
Some of the benefits, though,
true.
I remember if church ran, we're talking about back in the day and being in Spanish church. So Sunday night service went to 1 o'clock in the morning. We were not going to school on a Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was actually the perk.
That was the perk.
Yeah. But I remember, this is a side story, but I remember I missed a whole week of school because mom accidentally shaved part of my head wrong. And I was excited, but at the same time, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Yeah, and I just remember mom went, zzz, and then she was like, hi. And I was like, what? And then they told me later on, you have a, I don't even, did you tell me that you shaved my head, mom, or did you tell me I was sick? I think you told me I was sick. No, I'm just kidding, mom.
Mama.
I'm just messing
We
with you,
love you, Mom.
We
love
do.
you. We love you, mom.
Yes, we do.
And mom is the backbone.
She is the glue that holds our family
Yeah.
together.
Yes.
Did
She
y'all
really
did
is.
y'all ever feel mom praying like y'all'd be in bed, and then all of a sudden you'd feel her like you'd hear her be speaking in tongues? Guys, I swear to God, mom would be like to me because
Let's find out
No.
why.
I've seen those.
we used to,
Jessica, you're the only one that has that memory.
No, dude. I remember. I remember. I woke up one time in the middle of the night and I heard mom. And I looked over. She had her hand over Jessica, and Jessica. I think Jessica was faking her sleep, but
yes, she was pushing my head
she was
down.
pushing Jessica's.
She's all hard.
Oh my gosh.
Mom said you were sick.
No, she said you were sick.
Oh, I was.
You bozo.
Oh yeah, she's talking about that. I was sick with the shaved portion of my head.
Oh, man.
I was.
Yeah, but this happens anytime we're together, so.
Hey, and I think, and I know Dad would say this in a heartbeat if he was here, but he's really glad. By the way, nobody knows. We all, as of now, we all come to the same church. We serve here at the same church as our parents, and it's been that way for years.
Yes.
And I don't want to boast in that, but I know that there's some people that we know that, and it's just out there, that it's not very common for that to happen.
No.
And it's not throwing shade at those people because we understand that it's hard. We just talked about how it's hard. But I know Dad, one of the things that he always remembers is when he said that God called him here to Lubbock. He said, Lord, I just ask one thing, that my children serve with me wherever you plant me, and we're here, and I think that's awesome. It's a testimony.
Amen.
But That's just that's part of. I remember in elementary, they I can't remember who. I was sitting at the table and we were talking about church, and I just happened to say that my dad was a pastor, and that's when I first realized. I think I was in first or second grade, and that's when I realized like this is a different kind of way that I'm growing up, because I said, yeah, my dad's a pastor. And I remember some of the people at the table were like, your dad's a pastor? Whoa. Whoa. They were like going crazy. And I was like, what? Like,
that was typically the reaction.
No. I mean, we were first, second graders, so it was kind of messy, but
we went, y'all, like as kids, and we went through we didn't celebrate Halloween, never. And I mean, not that we do now. I remember. But there was
I skipped out on that part of life.
Like when you did.
Yeah, Abby was spoiled in that.
Abby came a little bit later in our parents' lives.
It's safe to say my PK experience was very different.
A lot different,
y'all's.
yeah.
You don't even go here.
That's all right. I'm gonna head out. Keep hitting my head on this mic.
Abby is the baby
just
of the
another
family.
normal
She's just the baby.
moment with my siblings here, but keep going.
But we did go through, I remember being little and mom and dad were fasting from TV.
Oh,
And
no.
it was like a church thing. I was probably like in the 5th or 6th grade, y'all. And I remember they were going to watch something and I was like so conflicted because I felt horrible. I was like, I'm not supposed to be watching TV. And so,
Dang.
so I went and I told the teacher right before they were going to turn it on, I'm like, I can't be watching TV. And she was like, why? I was like, because we're supposed to be fasting from TV. I'm not allowed to watch TV. And I didn't. They probably thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
But they took me to another
Did
table
I know this?
and gave me a coloring sheet. I don't know. But I know, I think I was probably like in about maybe 5th or 6th grade, But that's just how,
You're amazing.
mom and dad just kind of instilled the fear of the Lord in us.
I thought that was your button.
I didn't push a button. Oh man. Yeah, but all right, let's see here. Okay, I'm just reading. My dad said just go watch TV.
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. They pulled out that rolling cart with that big TV.
And she was like, yes.
I was like, the lights.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Ow.
Oh my gosh.
Who's
We get distracted with it.
Who said? Just like me and doing announcements Sunday. Who said I could do this? It was Jacob. It was Jacob's fault.
Hey, you did good, by the way. I told you just do the birthdays for that week, though, and you
should do
said
the
you said every birthday and anniversary
I
of the
was
entire
nervous.
month.
Listen, it's different.
Yeah, it is.
It's different when you're talking to the congregation.
Oh man, I don't know if we're gonna make it through this one. I don't know if we're gonna make it through this one.
Listen, it's different when you can see everybody. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna be like, can everybody just bow their heads?
And let me read announcements.
And then I was gonna read the announcements.
You should have done that. That would have been actually would have been funny.
Okay.
But, so growing up pastors' kids, was there ever like, and be honest, okay, we're being real right now.
Okay.
Was there ever like moments where you were like ashamed in a way, like you just wanted to be normal?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Me?
You said
I did.
absolutely.
Well, there was, I think, like I said, when I was little, I was like, yeah, mom and dad are fasting. Let's fast, all these things.
Yeah.
But then when you hit a certain age, especially in your teenage years, you're just like, you look around and you're like, I'm not allowed to do certain things. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I think growing up back then is different than it is now. We didn't have the social medias and the devices like our kids do. But there were a lot of times I remember thinking like, oh, grandma, like I knew aunts and uncles were doing parties or get-togethers, and dad was like, we can't go because there's church. Or or we can't go because there's alcohol involved,
Oh, yeah.
or there's going to be, and no offense to anybody, but there was a certain way our parents wanted to raise us in an environment that they wanted to create to have us in.
Yeah.
And so, sometimes I was like, why can't we just be normal? Like, why can't we go? Like, why can't we do this? Or why can't we listen to secular music? Because they didn't let us listen to, if we talk about, and it seems like something so like, that's not a big deal. But I remember sneaking to listen to like secular music when I was like 14 and Jessica catching me and telling on me.
I'm all out the door listening.
She told on me.
You snitched?
She snitched on me. And then
I got stitches.
and then when I went, I was like, Jessica, why did you tell me? She's like, I don't want you to go to hell.
But she was all watching TV while they were supposed to be fasting.
Hey, you were worried about her soul.
She
I
was
love my
very
sister's
concerned.
soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even to this day.
She does. She still prays for me.
And
every
right
day.
now, Lissy, your daughter is very concerned about birria tacos.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
yeah.
Myra, shout out to Myra and Sonny because
Yeah.
they're making birria
Hey,
tacos.
Order your tacos.
Hey, I don't know if they've sold out yet, but
Oh.
if y'all haven't, y'all need to give them a shout out because
Casa
They
Moreno.
delicious.
stuff. Hey,
Casa
and by the
Casa
way,
Moreno. Look them up.
I'll be there shortly, Myra.
Them things are good.
You know,
They
some
are
good
just
stuff.
amazing.
Just real
Some
quick,
good stuff.
I am I don't know if I know Mom had this conversation with all of y'all, but growing up, we were what's the word? Not confined, but they were a little strict on us going
Yes,
places.
They were.
And I think when one time Mom, she's like, Mija, I'm so sorry that we were so strict.
Yes.
I'm not even mad.
No.
Like my age now, I think I started to understand all that when I became a parent. And I'm so grateful. Like, I know we weren't allowed to go, like my friends, when I stood up in quinceañeras, I was allowed to stand up in them,
And not go to the dance.
but they were there to pick
Same.
us up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're-
What?
I don't know. I thought you were being sarcastic.
She thinks I don't got
Gosh,
friends.
dang it.
No, listen. No,
That's messed.
no, but like that, like I never. That was something that I was mad about because I wanted to stay for the bailes, and they were there to pick us up. And now I understand. I understand how the enemy works, especially at that age when you're in your teens and you're out there and the music that you're listening to, it's telling you do the things that adult things do, and that's being that kind of, we don't realize how much of that is a seed
Yeah.
that is
There you
put
go.
into the.
At that age, especially.
I love what Jerry Flowers says. He said it on one of his Therapy Thursdays. He said whatever you're listening to, it might have been a sermon too, but he said it's a seed. He said because he was talking about secular music. He said it's a seed that it gets put in here into your ear gate. Then it's here for a while. He goes, and the way that seed, you water that seed is the more that you continue to listen to it. That seed gets right here in your heart. Then over time, the more that you're listening to this secular music, the things that it's saying, drugs, sex, alcohol, robbing, gang fights, all the things, it's starting to be, what is it, watered.
Yes.
The more that you continue,
Yeah.
and then will you turn that off?
I forgot. Sorry.
You're fired.
Get it together.
But then it produces a fruit, and then that fruit comes out of your mouth. So then your kids are cussing, your kids are back talking, your kids are saying, I want to try drugs and I want to whoa. Why do you think they want to try those things? What are they listening to? But I kind of got off subject, but I'm very grateful.
You bring something out very important is that I think above all, they taught us to have a relationship with God.
With God, yes.
From a very
Yeah.
early age. And to understand that they are not the reason that we seek God. Like, mom and dad aren't going to get us to heaven. Like, their faith, their actions, their work, they taught us from an very early age, like, you disobey, you're held accountable.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
on you.
Yes.
Accountability was something that was instilled in us from a very early age and continues to
Yes.
in all kinds
Yes.
of, you know, but I think that's so important is that they taught us from an early age, you have to have a relationship with God. And that's something that we pass to our kids now is for them to understand that they have their, like I see Bella and Bella, I love you, baby girl. She's watching. But I see Bella and her relationship with God is just phenomenal. Like if I walk in, there's times I walk in at her into her room at like midnight and this girl's with her Bible open journaling.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, and God's like, you see what your daughter's doing? What are you doing? And I'm like,
Ooh, you got like
I'm so sorry, Lord. You know, but she, you know, and not only that, but let me tell y'all, you know, like she's actively involved here in church as well.
Yes.
And and I see her, and it inspires me. Your kids will inspire you when you
So
teach
true.
them to go the right way, you know, and you guide them. And I'm so grateful for the family that we have, including these three right here that help with my children because they are a handful. Shout out to William, Livy, and Matthew. Bella's
Shout
at home
out.
watching them.
Well, that's awesome. I wanna give a shout out real quick to some people that are watching. Shout out to David Vargas. Shout out to Esther, Lucy, all the people that are watching. Jordan, shout
Pastor
out to
Fernando.
Jordan.
Hey.
Pastor Fernando. Jordan's a pastor's kid too. So Jordan, we know you're PK. Jordan, I know you, Jordan. I know their stories. Maybe we can bring them up one day, but you know, oh, and shout out to Hilda. She said, "Love all the Lara PKs." So.
Yeah. Oh, she knew us when we were little.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got a
Hilda
question.
knows.
What?
I got a question.
What's the question?
Did you ever have friends that like ever commented on you being a PK?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
for
course.
sure.
Yeah.
Even
Like,
to this
okay,
day.
what
Yeah.
about the ones that had to spend the night? Because I specifically remember, like, middle school, high school, I really wouldn't tell other people that I was a PK. It just kind of like they figured it out after a
Somehow
while.
it came out.
Yeah. But I remember I had a best friend. Her name was Emily. And she came over for the first time on a Saturday.
Oh, gosh.
And we stayed up till 4 a.m. just watching TV, just doing random stuff. And then the next morning, Dad comes in. He's like, "We're gonna go to church." And Emily's like,
What? My dad would start his music like at 7 or 8 in the no, probably like 6 in the morning.
Man, let's talk about those mornings.
Do y'all remember? I remember Dad turning on, and I still talk about this. The God's Creation CD. It was a Tejano Christian album, and Dad had a Bose system in the house, and man, that thing would make the walls shake. And then he'd go around with the pot, and he'd be banging it. He was like, "Wake up!" So that's how he would wake us up on Sunday mornings when we were kids. Like, and I'm talking about maybe like under the age of 12 when we were pretty little.
Oh man, I remember that. Yeah. That was brutal.
I'm gonna do that to you, Dad.
No. I feel like I'm a morning person now because of Dad, though, because Dad's always
Dad is a
like,
very early morning person.
Jacob, you a morning person because of Cheeks. You a dad now.
well, he definitely helped out in that area. Cheeks is not a morning person.
No,
yo.
he's not.
Abby's not a morning person.
I am not a
Abby
morning
is not-
person.
Abby's a morning person when she gets paid, though.
That is true. That is absolutely
She will be
true.
up at 5 in the morning. Have her coffee ready to go.
Y'all,
For sure.
I gotta tell the story about Abby because it was when
Oh,
Abby
God.
it was when Abby was little. But Abby's our grandma, our dad's mom, she liked to watch scary movies, and Abby's always had this like thing with scary movies even when she was little. And
Not anymore. Not
anymore, but
Not as bad.
But she just liked scary movies, you know. And I remember I would tell her, Abby, you're gonna be scared at night. Like, don't watch that. She's like, no, I'm not. I said, then don't come and sleep in my room because I told you so. She was like, I'm not. And then like I'd wake up the next morning and she'd be in my bed on the other side, laying the other way.
You were the only sibling.
That was still in the house when she was
there.
little. Yeah.
And I just let it happen. I was like, well, I knew
You're
she
a
was
good
gonna be
brother.
scared, but yeah. That was also when Zeus was around. Y'all remember Zeus, the
Oh,
little
gosh.
chihuahua?
Yeah.
He wreaked havoc. Yeah.
I remember the bird Lissy killed.
I did not kill the bird.
Ja-
Look,
My bird
y'all.
committed suicide. in Lucy's room.
Dad was so devastated. Dad was devastated.
Who let him out of his? Okay, so I would keep my fan on all the time. I liked a cold one. That's a different story now. I do not like being cold, but I would leave my fan on and they let the bird out. And he flew into the room, so it's not my fault. He flew into the fan.
He was just trying to live his best life, and you had to have.
We just walked in and there was just
everywhere.
like feathers everywhere.
There was. It was, he like, boom, and he hit the wall. I was like, whoosh.
All right. Well, if y'all don't know what they're talking about, we had a pet. What was he?
I think it was a
He was a
parakeet.
lovebird.
Oh, it was a lovebird.
Lovebird. And his name was Polly, right?
Polly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
gosh.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
And
Alright.
Lissy always kept her fan on like hyper speed blast.
Turbo.
I did.
It was like turbo. And
Yeah.
No, and I tell Lissy,
Turn it
shut
off.
your door. If you're gonna turn it on your fan, shut your door. And it just so happened that the little bird just started flying straight through the hallway and boom,
That was not my fault.
committed suicide.
Death
think
by
you-
fan.
Okay, I gotta tell y'all another story. And I don't know if Lissy and Jessica remember
Oh,
this.
gosh.
Okay.
I mean,
This one's a good one. I'm playing my Xbox. Okay, I'm in my room. Abby had her own little bedroom on the other side of the house. This was when we were at the house on Cypress, and I'm sitting there playing my Xbox. I'm playing NCAA football. I remember I was into my game, and I just hear Jessica and Lissy just going at it,
Oh, man. Back
They were
when.
like-
Way back when. Yes.
mad at each other.
Yeah, sibling fight.
And I remember I just said, that's it. Threw my remote down, opened the door, and I see Jessica is just trying. She's about to go at it with with Lissy. And I just remember I picked Jessica up, put her on my shoulder, and she was scratching and she was. And I just remember
I know. The Lord saved a wretch
Yeah.
like me.
y'all.
He wiped my sins away.
I remember I body slammed her
I
and
don't
I
remember
said,
any of that. The
I
devil's a
shut
lie.
the door.
Are you sure it was me?
It was because you left me some scratches, girl.
Are you sure it was me?
It wasn't you. It was Sasha Fierce. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you did not.
I'm sorry.
No, you did not.
That's an inside joke. Sorry.
I don't know whether to be offended or.
Just it's all love.
Yeah, but that's probably another thing. Like, just because our parents were pastors did not mean we were angels.
Yeah.
By no means.
no.
Like, we had some pretty nasty fights
Yeah.
sometimes. And sometimes mom and dad were there for them, and sometimes they were not.
Yeah.
But we love each other now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do. And if we argue, I mean, we get over it pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be mad for a day and then,
Like a week.
like, a day.
Like a week.
Oh, Lord.
I love y'all.
I love
Hey,
y'all.
hey, but we
Not
weren't.
Jacob,
we,
though.
we obviously weren't perfect. All right. Yeah.
I'm
I
Sasha
told
Fierce.
you I was gonna get you. I told you I was gonna
He
get you.
did. He warned you.
Before we started, she was already at. I was like, I'm gonna get you, Jess.
That was before the live.
When you least expect it.
Oh, Jacob, it's on.
Oh, is this war again?
Oh, man.
By the way, we are saved and we love each other, but
We do.
But we're siblings, and
Yeah.
it's our job
And
to.
so sometimes you catch us all four sitting in the back, and if Dad's preaching, we're gonna catch every little mistake you
oh
make.
gosh, we were sitting behind Myra and Sunny the other day.
Oh God, me,
Us
Jessica,
three.
yeah.
Because Jacob was
So sorry,
on
Sunny
the-
and
on the
Myra.
altar.
oh man.
And they turned around a couple of times. They're like, "Shh, be quiet."
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh man.
Who was preaching?
Dad.
Oh, it was Dad. So sorry, Dad.
I'm sorry. Dad.
Yeah, it's always
love
dad. But I did mess up. I do mess up too sometimes.
I love Dad.
Yeah.
I love Dad
Yeah.
when he would start singing, "Look what the Lord has done."
Do it. Do it.
Okay.
Do it, Jess.
All right, Jess, you did it. I didn't do it. You did it.
How does he do it?
He'd,
Oh,
go,
that's-
he'd do like 5 key changes before he'd start. He'd strum his guitar. He's like, well, look what the Lord has done. But it was like 5 whales before he even started it. I love you, Dad.
Yeah. Dude, I remember that one time. Didn't you say you asked Dad like if you could go to somebody's house and he was redoing the roof in the garage?
Yeah. So Dad, when he's working really, really, really hard, he smiles like this.
Because the sun. He's always working in the sun.
No, he had a cap. He's just working hard like this. And so I'm like, yes, he's in a good mood. So I walk out there. I'm like, Dad. He's like, I'm like, can I go to and I can't remember whose house I wanted to go to.
He already put it up there, look.
He's like, negative. As he smiled, he looks at me, negative. I was like, okay.
I think that was Dad's favorite word when we were teens. There was a couple of times I asked for stuff. I was scared to ask Dad for anything.
Yeah.
I was like,
I still am.
Yeah.
Y'all.
Now I just buy Dad cookies.
I'm just kidding, Dad.
I make sure he has his favorite cookies and coffee at night.
I'll never forget this one time. It was after it was like when me and Britt first got married, and we had just went out to eat with Mom and Dad after church, and oh, dude, we were driving. Did y'all just hit each other's heads?
Yes, they keep.
What are y'all doing? Y'all are getting all into the story.
No, she keeps it. Yeah.
I'm trying to look at you. It's all done.
I just remember Dad. You know how Dad gets cramps all the time.
Yeah, poor Dad. My dad works. Daddy, you work really hard.
He
Daddy.
works so hard, John.
We love you, Dad.
Oh, I gotta tell
He's
another
a
story about that.
hardworking man,
Anyways,
man. We love you, Daddy.
So I'm talking to Dad, and I'm like, yeah, Dad, and he's like, and I'm like, what? And he had just been like, or he was about to pass us, so I like look and I see Dad driving, and he's like this. And what made it even funnier is he had his shades on, so I couldn't see the reaction of his eyes, but I could see his mouth. It was like,
Yeah.
Eat a banana.
We used to keep pickle juice in the house, little bottles of pickle juice for Dad there for a minute because
oh yeah.
You remember when he'd walk around with, he'd just be like this, and we'd be talking to him like, Dad, what's wrong? My hands are cramping.
Yeah, I just saw something. It reminded me of Mom. Myra was talking about how her mom used to drag them out by the ear or pinch them.
Oh,
y'all, do y'all remember when Mom used to do that to us when we were little?
Y'all,
God,
it happened to me.
y'all don't know. We got dragged out of church a couple of times when we were under the age of 10. Like Mom would be like, "Y'all better be quiet,"
Oh, yeah.
and we'd be like, we still be acting out. And
I remember.
she would take us from the front all the way to the back.
I hardly ever got hit because I watched y'all get hit. There was one time. There was one time.
She learned.
We were at the church, and this little girl, one of the other, I don't know if Mom remembers this, one of the other hermanas, like daughters, said I stole her doll.
Oh,
And Mom dragged me to the bathroom and beat the heck out of me. It scarred me for life, bruh. I was like, and she was lying. That was the worst part about it.
Mom.
Yeah, but let me tell y'all something. There, growing up as a PK as well, there was this situation when I was a teenager, and I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail, but I almost got in a fight at school. And,
Let's talk about fights in a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about fights. I didn't get in a fight like some people, but I almost got in a fight at school, and it just so happened the person that was involved, their family was members of the church, and I remember that Mom and Dad were like, "You are going to apologize." I was like, "I'm not going to apologize." They were like, "You are, and let me tell you why." And they did, and for a long time I was like, "Man, I was so mad at them because they made me apologize." And one day the Lord's, came when you find, when you get over being angry. And I was like, it was good that they did that. Like I didn't hold it, I learned to get over it because I understood why it had to go that way. And I think sometimes being in our situation, or at least for us, we watch our parents have such humble hearts when it comes to things that they've had to go through in ministry. And that's why, I've been told, and I know you guys have too, like, y'all are different.
Yeah.
Well, I just say we're weird. We're a little odd. But I think it has a lot to do with what we've learned as we've grown.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's so true, man.
And one thing that I'm also grateful for Mom and Dad is they're still in a place where even as much, wisdom as they have and the things that they've experienced, they're still able to tell you like, hey, you know what? I messed up there, like they're willing to admit and humble themselves. And I know I can't imagine, how that must feel because I'm not there yet. We're not there yet. But I mean, like sometimes I feel like there's people who are afraid to, to admit, because they feel like, well, I'm a pastor and I'm not supposed to ever be wrong. And I'm glad that mom and dad are willing to show us like, look, you're a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it hard sometimes to admit your faults or whatever? Sure, but I feel like it's a healthy thing, and that, and it's hard, like you were saying, how mom, and dad made you do that. It's hard, but it's the right thing to do.
It is.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I think, and I've stood by this statement, and I've said it a lot of times, but one of the things that they've instilled in us, and I remember being little and hearing dad preach this from the pulpit, is he used to tell people, and don't put your eyes on me.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
I'm going to
Yes.
fail you. As a man, I'm just another man. I'm don't put everything, look to God.
Yes.
I'm here to show you, but don't look to me.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on God. Keep
Yes.
your eyes. And that's something that has stayed with me. And I always say it's the greatest lesson that they have taught us, because, you wonder why sometimes people fall away when pastors fail. Or certain prominent figures in Christianity fall, whether it's to adultery or getting caught with porn or drugs or anything. And you have this big falling away. Oh my gosh, because I believed in this person. Well, that's not what you were supposed to do.
Exactly, yeah.
You were supposed to be believing in God.
Yeah.
And so I have to say that is one of the greatest lessons, if not the greatest, that they have taught us and is instilled in us.
I think that was the key for the way we turned out, and versus other PKs that have gone crazy,
or rebel.
or rebel.
I think that's a better word.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a better word. I remember mom and dad sitting down with me, and mom specifically told me, like, you don't look at us.
Mm-hmm.
You keep your eyes on God, because man will always fail you, but God won't.
That's right.
I'm glad you said that, because
Yeah.
that was the key.
I think that's important for anybody to hear that, because especially if you're watching and maybe you're in ministry, you serve at another church or whatever, understand you're never going to meet that place of perfection.
Oh, no.
Now you should strive for it, and that's biblical, but know that that's not your position. That's Jesus's position, and we should strive to be like him.
Amen.
And I know that's what mom and dad always taught us. That's what, being, even in our seasons of actually falling into the stigma of a PK, because I think we all of us
At one time.
at some point or another, we fell into that stigma. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But what amazes me is, number one, mom and dad loved us through it.
Oh yeah. They had a lot of patience.
Yes.
Tons of patience, and I think that, like I said, because we saw their consistency in their faith, we didn't see them waver, even in hard times and loss and all those other things. I think that's been planted in our hearts.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, here we are. And
And it's really cool now, because like dad sent us a preaching the other day, and he was like, hey, I want y'all, he sent it to us in a group, and he was like, I want y'all to listen to it. And that having that kind of relationship with our parents now as an adult, that we're all adults, is beautiful, because like we have a family group text, like, so it's one of us and then one of us, all of us with our kids and everything. And having that space, I always tell people, we are our safe space. I know that probably sounds weird, but we can be real with each other.
Yeah.
We vent to each other.
Yeah.
We encourage each other. We can cry, we can laugh.
Yeah.
But then, at the end of it all, whoever, it's usually mom and dad, they're going to encourage us in some form or fashion, or throw the word in there and tell us, but this is why, you know?
Yes.
And love you, mom and dad.
Yeah.
Any closing comments before we, man, I honestly, I wish we could do another hour of this. We need to do this again.
Next time we'll have Angela.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
David.
Bring more.
We're gonna feature other PKs and get
Yeah.
y'all's perspective on.
We need that.
good.
There's so many PKs out there. I know there was some watching. There was some commenting. I know the Vargas family too. Like,
Yes.
I bet the Vargas family can come on here and
Oh,
Tell some
yeah.
stories.
because we love them. But hey, we're glad that you stuck around and you watched this. By the way, before we end this, got to represent. I want to just extend an invitation to church this Sunday. If you don't have a church, come and join us here at Encounter Grace.
Yes.
This is actually where the studio is at. It's every Sunday at 10 a.m., Wednesdays at 7 p.m., 101 East 2 Lane. And you'll come hear a word. And here's the crazy thing, like you'll see so many. We have like 4 pastors that preach. It's not just my dad. That's one thing that you'll learn about my dad if you don't know him, is he's not a man about himself. He's a man about the kingdom.
That's right.
Amen.
And I think that's important. It's another important thing that he showed me. And so, like, me being a worship pastor, I love, like, this past Sunday, I didn't even play or sing, and it was like beautiful. It was a blessing. It was amazing. It was anointed, and that's the heart. I think that's the heart of ministry, and that's definitely one thing that our parents showed us too, is you're no better than the next person just because you're a PK. Okay, I know we talked about us being PKs, but we know we're just people, and we've been placed in a pretty unique position for sure. We've experienced a lot of unique things, but nonetheless, we are very, very grateful for our parents. We're grateful for this.
Yes, we are.
I'm glad that I was born into this family. I know my sisters are the same, and I wouldn't change anything about it.
Not at all.
Anything y'all want to say before we close out?
Come see us tomorrow.
Yeah.
9 o'clock potluck.
I'm just saying,
Oh,
we
yeah.
need an edit for how many times me and Jessica hit our heads on these mics.
I'll
It
do
was
that.
a
Like
ridiculous
just solely
amount. Yeah.
bloopers.
I'm gonna have
of
to
this
go back and
entire
watch because now we love you, family, friends. Thank y'all for watching. Shout out to Thea Sally. She was watching.
Thea.
We love you, Thea. We miss you. We hope that everybody is doing good. We got to get together soon. We ever since Grandma passed away, I feel like it's been hard to get together, but we love y'all, and
We miss him.
I hope
We
that
miss
we can all
everyone.
get together at some point.
Is that brother Cody Blair?
Hey Cody, what's up, Cody? Man, I'm glad you're watching. Yeah, I can't wait to see you tomorrow, man. Well, family, don't forget to live, love, and lead by
Example.
example. God bless.